the MVP Deflector. Is this the best overstable mid-range on the market? There's a lot of debate between the differences between an overstable mid-range and an overstable approach disc. We're not going to get into that today. Flight number is 53504. Very overstable. We're going to be comparing it to the Discraft Zone, which has been a staple for the overstable approach disc slot. This deflector is slightly faster. The rim profile just kind of gives that away. It just seems a little bit sharper than your typical Zone that's got a very, very blunt edge. So let's kick off this first hole, 200 feet straight across the water. Go deflector first. Very overstable. There is a pretty strong right to left wind here, so releasing it on hyzer is really going to push things over to the left. Got a couple walking over the bridge here. Let's wait for them to pass. Deflector is definitely a lot more stable than the Zone, and the Zone has significantly more glide. For those of you that are new to the channel, you might not know that I am a big hater of the Zone OS. So I've been looking for something that's very overstable, meat hook type of disc, but not the Zone OS. I just hate the hand feel of it. And not only is the hand feel a problem, but I also hate the fact that the Zone OS has virtually no glide. This deflector seems to be kind of a nice middle ground in between a Zone and the Zone OS. Got another 200-foot shot, low ceiling, so we're gonna see how the ground play is with the deflector here. Very stable, good skip. I mean, that's almost bullseye. Now let's try the Zone. Significantly less stable, a little more glide. Equally as good there. The main debate that I have right now is the deflector worth taking the Zone out of the bag? Does it take the Zone slot, or is it just another addition for another overstable disc that's a little bit better in wind, may go a little bit further, have a little bit more ground play? It's almost an entirely different disc. So if you're looking for the kind of overstable approach disc that'll hit and stick right where it lands, this is absolutely not the disc that you're looking for. If you're looking for something that will dependably finish to the left and give you some good ground play, the deflector is a great option. 220 feet dead straight ahead. With the way that this is kind of laid out, it does play nicely to a forehand. So we're gonna try throwing both these on a forehand, maybe just a touch of flex. You guys will get a first ever reaction forehand throw out of me. I have not thrown the deflector on a forehand yet, so we'll see how it feels. It is quite a bit shallower than the Zone. I'll show you guys here. There you go, you can tell it is just a bit shallower than the Zone, and it does feel nice in the forehand, but it doesn't feel perfect. It doesn't feel as good as I would expect. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Oh, flash and chains too. A little less flex on this because the Zone's not quite as stable. Yeah, see how the Zone just held that turn a lot longer? That is a very beat-in Zone for an example, but the deflector fights out so much harder. Out of the forehand felt really good. I liked that. I actually got a cleaner release than I was expecting. Like I said, out of the hand, it doesn't feel fantastic for me. This little rim right here just kind of digs into the side of my hand right here because it is a sharper disc. It's not as blunt as the Zone. The Zone feels a lot more comfortable in the forehand, and I actually don't like the Zone in the forehand, so that's surprising for me to say. We've got 283 feet here. That's getting to the kind of the max distance that I expect this disc to be useful for. I'm going to throw it on a little bit of flex line because it is significantly more stable than I think that you would expect. Oh yeah, fights out of that really fast. Beautiful flight though. This Zone I'll release just dead flat and it'll fade over to the left. Just like that. Oh, we caught a tree. So my initial impressions after these first couple holes with the deflector is I think it's going to go straight in the bag. I really like the overstability of it. It is significantly more stable than the Zone. Like I said, this is a beat-in Zone, so take that with a grain of salt. But even then, this deflector has a fresh Zone beat any day of the week when it comes to beefiness. So we've got the Zone right here. Looks like the deflector beat it yet again. Oh, we left that putt short, of course. Deflector is just inside circle 1 here. Great shot, even with hitting that tree. Doesn't mean it's a good putter though. Or if we're being honest, doesn't mean I'm a good putter. Where I see this disc really shining is in the woods and tight fairways where you've got to get left fast. But a hole like this with water on the right is a great spot for it as well. Skip off that. Look at that, right inside the circle. In the Zone, we can't afford to hang out near as far. What I really like about the deflector is the confidence that it gives me to be able to hang it out wide over this water and not have an inkling of fear that it's not going to make it back. Zone did beat it just barely, but like I said, both basically bullseye shots. So I've only actually thrown this one time before I decided to film this video, and it's when I traded my buddy, fellow van lifer Wes, for my Zone OS for this. And so far, I think I won this trade. I'm really liking the dependent fade. I mean, I'm never worried that thing's gonna flip over at me at all. And I think it's got a little bit more push and penetration than any of the other overstable mids on the market. We've got 251 feet here. The basket's straight ahead, but lots of first availables to hit. There's a relatively open gap here on the right, probably the biggest one, but it's gonna require a strong fade and a big skip finish. Perfect for this disc. Cut it a little tight, but I mean, it's so dependable. That's still within C1. Try to give this a little bit more height to allow the zones glide to get it there. Just like that. Just not as much fade. You can see it's just a slow pushing fade instead of really just cutting over. And that's another thing that I think the Deflector does well versus the Zone OS. The Zone OS is almost Berg-like in the fact that it just falls straight down. It doesn't seem to have as much left and right movement as I'm looking for, whereas this Deflector really wants to get to the left and it wants to skip once it gets there to help you get further left. And I think it goes without saying this disc is not designed for a dead straight laser beam shot, but caged it. But a hyzer is the most consistent shot in disc golf. Having a disc in your bag that you know is always gonna end up on the left side of the fairway is a great feeling to have. So as far as what kind of player the Deflector is gonna be good for, I think it could be used by players of all skill levels. Those lower arm speed players are gonna be able to use it for flex shots and to have that dependable finish. The middle to high skill players are gonna find it as a very straight disc at first with a dependable finish. It doesn't fly like the Zone OS, where as soon as it leaves your hand, it's trying to get to the ground. It does wanna push straight for a good while before it starts to dump. And I think that's the biggest distinguisher between the two discs and why I prefer this one so much. We've got 220 feet. Basket is set up on a hill. Really the only route I see is this opening in between the furthest tree and the next one over. So it looks like a big high hyzer, and let it just crash into the hill and hopefully not roll down is your best bet. This isn't a hole I would likely throw the Deflector on to begin with, but it'll be a good comparison between this and the Zone. Oh, maybe not. We just hit the pole, so I guess a pretty good disc selection there. Let's try the Zone. I didn't give it the height. Hopefully it skips. Nope. I guess the Deflector is the better option here. Okay, so we are now on the top of the hill that the last basket was on the side of. This is big elevation for Florida. We've got 251 feet, dead straight. I'm thinking just a huge hyzer at it's probably our best bet. Yeah, I think that's gonna be pretty good. Oh, just in front of it. I thought it was gonna flash some chains for a second. I started that out at those buildings over that tree and just let it come back, and it obviously did. The Zone, if I were to throw that same line, is gonna just keep pushing for a good long ways, and especially in this headwind, might even flip over. We're gonna go a lot lower with the Zone. Still ended up in that tree. Oh, and is it gonna fall? Uh-oh. Guys, the one time I don't have my full bag with the retriever, we've got a disc stuck in the tree. Okay, lucky for us, the Zone did fall, but holy crap. Quick little nation appreciation moment, guys. Look at this tree. This thing is crazy looking. What do you guys think? Has the Deflector earned its spot in the bag just yet? Nothing special with this hole. It's just dead straight, no real obstacles. We've just got this sweet looking tree and an ace run, so we're gonna hit it. Is it gonna get there? Nah, just short. See how much straighter the Zone flies? Like I said, it is a beat-in zone, but regardless, it's not that Jeez, I cannot talk. It's not that wildly different from a stock brand new Zone, and it just has a ridiculous amount of push in comparison to the Deflector. I have to admit, guys, so in my journey of trying to get rid of the Zone and remove it from my bag, I've actually found out how much I really like it by comparing it to other discs. It really is just that good. The search continues. I am still trying to find something else, but I really am starting to kind of fall back in love with it all over again. 216 feet here. Basket is tucked behind that huge clump of trees, so I think the only option is just huck it at the trees and hope we get a skip towards the basket. Skip in there. Oh, okay. Try the Zone. Skip. Oh yeah. So is the MVP Deflector worth buying and trying? I say it is. I really enjoy this disc. I think it's gonna find a nice spot in my bag. Like I said, just a tick more stable than the Zone, and it's kind of just its own disc. It's not really trying to compete for anything else in my bag. It's just, it fits nicely there though. I do really like having that dependability. So with that, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching as always. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.